Hey witches, it's Willow Moonlight here. I'm going to be doing my first ever kitchen table talks. This episode or this session, I want to talk to you about my top 10 ways to practice witchcraft discreetly. Just to give you an idea, within not even a year, maybe half a year, I finally got my own place. However, before then, I had moved back home with my family to go back to school. Thankfully, I'm all done and I'm out on my own. However, it was very hard over the last couple of years, even before then, to try to practice witchcraft discreetly. Everyone I know pretty well has to practice witchcraft discreetly in some kind of way. So there's different reasons. It might just be when certain family members are over, or when your parents come to visit, or maybe you do live at home. Maybe you have a roommate, or you're, sharing a bedroom with a sibling, or you're in a dorm room. I'm hoping that I can tell you what has worked for me in my situation, and maybe it could end up helping you in some way. So I lit some incense here. That's one of the things I will talk about later. I love to burn incense. I don't burn as much as I would like to, but today I am. And I have some dandelion root tea that I'm brewing here, or steeping. And that should be ready soon. So join me as I tell you a little bit about my story from the last couple of years and things that I did in order to continue practicing witchcraft without having my family know. Which brings me to the first thing on my list, and that is always having a supply of white tea lights on hand. I know that we sometimes in witchcraft will talk about colors and how to coordinate your candles depending on what you're doing. So if you're looking for a job, you would obviously want green candles. If you're doing a love spell, it's always red or pink. Well, if you're trying to be discreet, white candles are a good option, and especially tea lights, because they're everywhere. You see them just, little decorations and things like that, and they're pretty inexpensive, and you don't have to go to a fancy shop in order to buy these candles. I think my mother had a bag of these in the hutch where she kept all of her china, and I just grabbed the bag, and I have this little tea light holder. I don't remember where I got it from. Maybe I got it for like $1 at Walmart. So very easy. And of course, like I say, no one's going to question why you have a tea light candle around. Sometimes other candles, you might have to go somewhere else to find them. And if you're like me, I lived in the middle of nowhere for 4 years. It was so hard to get around because, of course, I don't have a driver's license. And so if I want to go somewhere, I was very limited. I would have to get somebody to drive me, or I did go to school in the city. I did most of my work at home online, but sometimes I would have to go in to write a test. So, I would be at school and then I could take a bus to places where I felt comfortable going to. So, definitely having some of these tea light candles, that's all that you'll need. Just try it for now. Everything is about your intent with witchcraft. So, definitely get yourself some tea light candles if you can. If for some reason you cannot burn candles, which I will talk about later, you can get battery operated candles. Some can be expensive, but you can pretty well always get those battery operated tea light candles from like the dollar store or something. And that could be another alternative if you are not able to burn candles where you are. The next tip that I have for you on my list is using common herbs and plants to do your spells. So some of the common herbs and spells where I'm at are things like sage, rosemary, thyme, the things that you're going to find in the grocery store, or just things that have been in your kitchen cupboards for Lord knows how long. Use those things. It's so hard to find, for some spells, things like juniper berries or mugwort. There's very few places in rural, maritime, small town where you're going to find juniper berries or mugwort. I don't even know where to get mugwort today. Yeah, so definitely using the more common household herbs and plants. There is a book that I wish I had back then, and it's called Supermarket Magic. I have it as an ebook right now, and I recommend that you get it, whether you can have a bookstore order it into you, mail it into you, or, if you have a credit card, use, get the ebook. It all depends on, of course, your financial situation and if someone is able to see your account activity, like a parent or spouse or somebody, or if you have something in the mail, it might be hard to get it past them, especially if they are the one that receives the package and they're wondering what it is. Just out of curiosity, they might not suspect it's witchcraft. They just could be like, oh, what'd you get? So yes, Supermarket Magic, really good book. I had some really good spells that I have used already. This is one that I made. It's a protection powder. It's a lovely powder and it smells amazing. It consists of a bunch of different things. I can't remember it all, but things like mint, which I'll get into another hack here in a second. Some mint is in there, oregano, I believe, and some cornstarch powder. And it's great. You can sprinkle this on doors, floors, walkways. I like to just, take a little bit and just dab it on the back of my ear. Just, sprinkle it. It's great. Now, if you don't have access to, some of the more uncommon herbs, a good trick that this may or may not work depending on where you are, but you can get tea bags, and there's chamomile and lavender in here. So if you can't go and find fresh lavender, or you don't have access to dried lavender, you can just open up a tea bag. And same thing, if you need jasmine, maybe try finding some jasmine tea. So those are really good options right there. I'm gonna pour some tea